Hi there, Summoners. GuardianE here with another live reaction and first impression video for Fire Emblem Heroes. Just a couple of days away from the next legendary hero and Christmas, and we've got the trailer pulled up here, so I know that the front runner guess from basically everybody out there is that it is going to be a legendary Camilla, which is obviously very, very hype. But let's go ahead and get started. Let's watch the trailer together raw for the first time, react to what gets revealed, and then of course take a closer look at the unit and the banner to see if ultimately I think this is a banner worth pulling on. Alright, okay, let's get it started. Wait for the text to leave, and going through the tree of destiny or whatever, a new legendary hero joins the oh, the music! No, it's gotta be, yes! Alright, there she is! Oh god, she's a green tome user? Flying green tome user. Bewitching tome, draconic aura, remote sparrow, spoil rotten for the B slot. Yes, she has her own unique B slot. Deadly miasma for the C slot. Deals massive damage based on her foe's attack, puts penalties on foes, and nullifies bonuses with divine vein. Alright, I don't, okay, alright, okay. I'm a little skeptical about the scaling off of foe stats in general. I generally just don't like that, but there she is. Okay, I mean, we finally have her. It's been what? It's been 5,000 years, and we have legendary Camilla in the game. She is going to be a green tome unit. Definitely a saturated color for Camilla Emblem. Not gonna lie, green in general is okay. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Okay. There's too much to digest here. I don't. So she lost her bonuses. All right, she took a heck of a lot of damage there too. Draconic. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. I gotta see what her kid is. We gotta go. We're gonna go back. We're gonna go into more detail. Medeus, Asker, Deirdre, we got Veronica here as well, Robin on the banner, we got Soren, okay, we've got Golvaig, Corin, and Allir. Okay, alright, so, oh, Ratatosker, whatever her name is too, okay, alright, so we have Camilla in the game as a, end-of-year celebration, more or less, and of course there is the FEH Pass, where we are going to be able to spark for her guaranteed at least one copy, which is nice. So, once again, starting on the 24th, so starting tomorrow night into Christmas, really, and going for like about, what, 2 weeks or so, we've got legendary Camilla, Alluring Darkness. We can take a closer look at her art, take a closer look at her kit. I mean, obviously, I'm super excited to see her finally in the game. I'm perplexed at the green tome. I didn't think they were going to go that route. It is interesting. I think most people were anticipating an axe, so it is interesting that she is a green tome unit. I am curious about the miasma effect as well as the her unique B slot skill. I'm hoping they gave her something really good. We just got a set of really stupid brain dead Christmas units. So do Camilla right, you know? I mean, give her the goods here. I want them to deliver on this front. They need to give her all of the tools and that longevity and future proofing and everything else that we're looking for. But yes, so she is going to be a green tome unit, green tome flyer, of course, which is fantastic. And let's go ahead, let's rewind and take a closer look at her art here, because so here is Camilla, green tome unit, flying unit, art by Mai Okuma, who I just looked it up. They have also done the artwork for Summer Tharja, as well as rearmed Fallen Robin, female Robin. So relative newcomer, I think, to the FEH art scene in general. I was kind of hoping for, to be perfectly honest, I was kind of hoping for Yoshiku or Kabun to take up the reins for Camilla here. But Mai Okuma did a great job with the design in general. It has this ballroom appeal. There's a lot of elegance and grace to it with the flared out skirt. You've got those frills, those ruffles, those tassels of high-class refinement built into here, into the actual skirt portion and the dress portion of the outfit, the sleeves loosely hanging off of her gloved arms. The bodice portion does stay true to her propensity for form-fitting, cinches at the waist, really accentuates all of her curves and proportions, really majestic looking. She's got her hand outstretched, A beautiful cascade of purple curls behind her. If there's one thing that Camilla designs pretty much always deliver on, it's fabulous hair. This one is no exception. Color palette is really great. You've got just a streak of green in there, but amongst the general color palette that stays true to her, which is the purples and the blacks and the golds. Okay, so naturally she comes with her own unique tome, Bewitching Tome, 14 might, enables Kanto 1, that's already a good thing with a ranged unit and a ranged flyer at that. Has a killer slaying effect, I love it already. If unit initiates combat or foe's range is equal to 2, as combat begins, deals damage to foe equal to % of foe's attack. If unit initiates combat or foe's range is equal to 2, as combat begins, deals damage to foe equal to X% of foe's attack. If unit has weapon triangle advantage or unit speed is greater than foe's speed, X equals 40, otherwise X equals 20. Effects that reduce damage during combat do not apply, will not reduce foe's HP below 1. So you're looking at least 20% of the foe's attack as combat begins damage, so chip damage as combat starts, either 20% or 40%. And 40% happens if she has greater speed than her opponent. Hopefully she's stacked in the speed department, or she has weapon triangle advantage, okay? Alright, and then if unit initiates combat or foe's range is equal to 2, grants +5 to all stats to unit, grants bonus to unit's attack and speed equal to 20% of unit's speed at start of combat, okay? And reduces damage from foe's first attack by 30% during combat, and restore 7 HP to unit after combat. That's a great assortment of things in there. I like that there's damage reduction built in. I like that there's health restoration at the end of it. There is some scaling off of her speed stat, so it seems like she is going to be a very speedy unit here. It does sound like that is going to be kind of her ace stat. Now, we haven't gone through the rest of her kit yet, but something that is jarringly missing here is the nullification of enemy effects that can prevent follow-up attacks. I would like to see her have that because she's going to be naturally speedy, which means she's going to naturally double. What I want on her is an ability to prevent or to stop units from preventing her from doubling. That would really be key. But otherwise, I'm liking the damage reduction. The chip damage is really going to, I think, stack and synergize well with skills that we already have out there that actually add this chip damage as combat begins. And that can be really significant. 40% or 20% of the enemy's attack is significant. That's a big old chunk of damage. Draconic Aura for the special, Remote Sparrow for the A slot. That's an interesting choice. It's a good choice. I mean, it goes with her offensive stat line. It is actually going to stack with the damage reduction that Bewitching Tome gives her, so she's going to enjoy a lot of damage reduction with that first initiation against her, and or first attack in the initiation. So that is nice, although I think that she's probably got some other, prime A slot skills that she could swap in there for good measure. Okay, so her own unique B-slot skill is Spoil Rotten. Yes, please. Alright, so at start of turn, if unit's HP is at least 25%, inflict speed res -7 and sabotage on closest foes and any foe within 2 spaces of those foes through their next actions, and reduces the % of foes non-special reduced damage by X% skills by 50% to unit and allies within 2 spaces of unit for 1 turn. So this is the activation portion of the skill. At the start of the turn, -7 speed and res and sabotage on closest foes. There's no range limit here. It's not in cardinal directions. It's not in 3 rows or 3 columns or anything like that. It's just the closest foe. So anywhere the closest foe is, and then it's an AoE. So any allies of that foe within 2 spaces of that foe gets -7 to speed and res and sabotage. Sabotage is going to work with the -7 speed and res to amplify that to -14 effectively as a debuff. It's going to be -7 visibly, but then the sabotage is going to basically double that. So you're going to have -14 to speed and res, which is quite significant. And then she also grants a buff to herself and her allies, which is damage reduction by 50%. So if the enemy has skills that give them damage reduction, she will reduce that by 50% and give her allies the ability to also reduce that by 50%. That's quite strong. At start of combat, if unit's HP is at least 25%, inflict speed res -5 on foe, so that's an in-combat debuff, in addition to the speed and res debuff from the activation and the sabotage. Neutralizes effects that prevent units' follow-up attacks. Yes, okay. And neutralizes effects that inflict special cooldown charge -X on unit during combat. That's also going to assure that she does get her special charge, which is excellent. The preventing Neutralizing effects to prevent follow-up attacks was something that I was really keen on her having, especially since it looks like she's going to have high natural doubling capability here, and that's just going to synergize very, very well with the kit. This is a really, really strong effect. I did think her own unique skill was going to have something to do with chip damage, basically, since she kind of introduced or was the initial unit that had Savage Blow in the game. But I actually really like this direction. There's an in-combat component, there's an out-of-combat activation component. All of the effects are really strong, and all of it are really, really crippling to the enemy on the speed and res components, which are only going to amplify and make the rest of her kit much, much, much better with the Bewitching Tome. So this all synergizes very, very well. Neutralizing the effects that prevent units' follow-up attacks, really, really key. And then, of course, the neutralizing effects that inflict guard on her, that's also awesome. Deadly Miasma as the C-slot skill. If unit initiates combat, inflicts -5 to all stats on foe, neutralizes foes' bonuses, okay, during combat, and after combat deals 7 damage to target and foes within 2 spaces of target, and applies Divine Vein Haze on target spaces and on each space within 2 spaces of target space for 1 turn. Deals 7 damage to target and foes within 2 spaces of target. That feels a little throwaway, I mean, as just 7 damage kind of tacked on at the end. I feel like it would have been better for it to be chip damage at the start, just so that it synergizes, of course, with her weapon, but maybe I'm just not seeing all the pieces falling together just yet. And then, of course, it says the Divine Vein Haze on target space and spaces within 2 spaces of the target. Okay, so Divine Vein Haze shares a lot of effects with Deadly Miasma, and they stack with each other, technically. The Divine Vein doesn't stack with other Divine Veins or itself, but Deadly Miasma stacks with Divine Vein. So if there is a unit that is in the Haze effect, and then you're also attacking into them with Deadly Miasma, they get -10 to all of their stats. You can't neutralize their bonuses twice, but that's just something that happens, I guess, with the Divine Vein Haze. So that is a lot of debuffs, especially in tandem with Spoil Rotten. Both of those together have just tons of debuffs on the enemy, in combat activated, through the sabotage, all of that stuff. Interestingly enough, Deadly Miasma is only on player phase, so it's only when she's initiating, and then Divine Vein Haze can operate on either phase. So that means that she's getting the effect of neutralizing the enemy's bonuses, even when she's enemy phasing, as long as the enemy is in the Haze effect. Whether or not the enemy is getting -5 or -10 to all of their stats varies, and then the whole chip damage at the end is just kind of a part of initiating, which is interesting. Yeah, it's quite solid. I mean, Deadly Miasma altogether is going to cripple the enemy's ability to really do much of anything with their stat line. I will say that Divine Vein Haze is, I think, really good. I don't think it's, like, incredible or anything of an effect for the Divine Haze, but it has a huge effect. Like, it has a huge AoE, and having that debuff and the neutralization of bonuses is quite a nice thing in general to have. So it's just good insurance there to have on the battlefield. In terms of her kit as a whole, I think she's got a lot going on. I like the future-proofing of Bewitching Tome, where the actual chip damage actually scales off of a stat, and in this case the enemy's attack stat, which is substantial, but that means that going forward in the future, it's not like a fixed amount, which is good. And I think that going forward, as attack stats become more and more ridiculous, this effect is going to be more and more ridiculous in kind. Yeah, she's just got a lot going on, just huge debuffs to the enemy's offensive stat line. Her abilities scale off of her speed stat, which are going to be probably pretty substantial. You've got the chip damage built in, the damage reduction built in, you've got healing in there, more damage reduction with the A slot, you've got sabotage, more debuffs up to wazoo, the guaranteed, or rather neutralizing of preventing her follow-up attacks and preventing the guard effect on her are both really powerful components to her kit. And then she's got the Divine Vein Haze, which comes out of her C slot, which should be inheritable, but giving that ability to neutralize bonuses on the enemy, do additional chip damage, severely debuff all of the stats, double time over, is just really strong. So I like the kit. I think there's a lot of potential here. Deals massive damage based on her foe's attack, puts penalties on foes, and nullifies bonuses with Divine Vein. Yeah, so we just, of course, saw that through all of the text that's there. So how much chip damage is this going to do then? 22. 22 is a lot. That is a lot. And then this tome effect, it's really cool. It twirls together and then explodes into a rose, a thorny rose. That's a really cool effect. So against There we go, 35. Then we're going to get the actual haze effect that appears here, the Kanto, so she can sit back a little bit. So then she's going to get a buff here, of course. And then Thrasier attacks in. Those buffs are going to be neutralized because she is in the haze when she's attacking. Alright, so there should be some damage reduction built into this. Gets 21 raw damage. 33 damage out of 38, so there is some slight damage reduction. She doesn't get the remote Sparrow damage reduction because she is enemy phasing. Oh, okay, so here's the damage dart. Looks like she's shielding herself a little bit. Some of her gold trappings are kind of up in tatters around her a bit. There's a lot going on. I want to see the full art here, but looks good. Looks clean. And then here is her special art looking as graceful as ever. The glowing book, the glowing tome effect. And then again, I really like the sprite attacking art and the effects that are there that kind of turns into an exploding rose. I think that's really cool. Alright, so here is the list of focus units available on the banner. Now, I don't want to be a downer, because I'm super hyped for Camilla, and I'm very, very excited that she's finally here, but part of me was really hoping that she wasn't going to get revealed this month. And the reason for that is the other prospects on the banner. December is traditionally where Choose Your Legends makes a return, and as a whole, just Choose Your Legends making a return on a Legendary Hero banner lowers the value of that banner, in my opinion. They're in the regular pool. Most people summoned for them back during that banner. And in particular, I'm just going to say this, I'm not to hate on Soren, but Soren literally is like a black hole of orbs for me because he has absolutely zero value for me. Again, not to hate on him, but I'm not really going to build him and use him. All of his skills are worthless to me because none of that, they're all locked to infantry, which is an asinine decision, but I mean, that's what they went with. So yeah, getting Soren, unfortunately, to me, it has basically no value. And I knew that he was going to be on this banner, and he was going to accompany who the new green legendary is, which, of course, in this case is Camilla. And I know that when I summon for her, I'm probably going to get a plus 15 Soren before I get, like, a plus 2 Camilla. I mean, that's just kind of like the way it goes. On the flip side, Legendary Alluring is absolutely amazing. So there is that counterbalance here, I suppose. But that being said, let's take a look at kind of the banner as a whole here. So on green, we have Camilla, we have Alluring, and we have Soren. I've already said my spiel about Soren, but that's really for me, selfishly. Soren is a great unit. He is a great unit to have, with great skills for building up other infantry units. Just for me, the value isn't there. But as a whole, with Alluring and Soren together, this is pretty high value. Again, I would detract points for Choose Your Legends being in the regular pool, and they will show up on other banners. They may show up on Hero Fests or things like that. Like, they'll show up on at different times. But hey, that's just me. So if we take a look at blue, we've got Legendary Deirdre, we've got Ratatoskr, and we've got Choose Your Legends Golvaig. So that's a stacked color, for sure. It falls in the same issue where I think it innately has less value because Choose Your Legends units are in the regular pool. They're not limited. But Deirdre's good. Ratatoskr, everybody got her for free. Getting additional merges obviously can be useful, but for general purposes, and I would say for most players, it's not really that important. And so therefore, I think that paired with Golvaig does take the color down a notch. I would say it's not necessarily on the same level as green personally. We've got Veronica, we've got Choose Your Legends, Robin, and we have Legendary Alincia. So those are all very strong units as well. Again, Robin being the Choose Your Legends unit, but yeah, Veronica's very strong. Alincia is very strong. I actually kind of want Alincia because I think she'd have some nice skills as well for flyers. Again, that's my flyer bias coming in. But yeah, so I mean, quite strong. I would say definitely on the same level, if not better. I would actually probably maybe even put it better than blue, just because everybody got Ratatoskr already. So, and then our colorless, we have Choose Your Legends Corrin, we have Asker, and we have Medeus. So very solid showing there on colorless as well. Corrin, very, very strong. Again, in the regular pool, but it is what it is. Asker and Medeus, both very strong components to different Ether Raids teams. So I would probably put it on the same level as maybe in between blue and red. They're all pretty close. The other colors just kind of hover a little bit under green, all kind of around the same level. So there's definitely a lot of value, don't get me wrong. What I will say, and I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, is that if Camilla was not on this banner, I probably wouldn't summon for it. Because, again, the fact that the Choose Your Legends heroes are taking up slots that could be limited heroes, it kind of takes a little bit of the value away from me. I know not everybody feels that way, but I feel like I've got to communicate that just because that is how I feel. But again, it is a moot point. Camilla is on the banner, and we are going to be summoning, and we are going to be going effectively to 0 on this banner to try to get as many copies of Camilla as we possibly can. So that is forthcoming. So stay tuned for... we'll see whether it's a blessing or a travesty for what our summons are going to be. But let me know in the comments below if you guessed Camilla. I think most people guessed Camilla, to be perfectly honest. But go ahead and take credit. Go ahead and put a comment down below. Let me know what you think about Camilla, what you think about the banner, what you think about the weapon type, what your feelings are overall. Hopefully you all enjoyed the video. If you did, please feel free to leave us a like, comment, subscribe to the channel for more Fire Emblem Heroes content. We thank you all so much for watching, for taking time out of your day to spend with us. We really do appreciate it. And until next time, let's protect those skies.